about that time. About that time. Tune in or get tuned the fuck out. It's that Big Fruit podcast. Big Fruit podcast. It's that Big Fruit podcast. He about to go live. It's about that fucking time. It's that podcast. A-Hood, A-State, A-Block. Love to watch A-Day. Big Fruit been popping all kinds of ways. He took his spot, made it hot like a dinner plate. If you see him live, tune in, it's going down. True stories by real legends that's in the ground. Real gangsters that's in the jails in the town. Fire music, all exclusive, shut it down. This shit is real talk, real shit, won't remind me. By niggas that was killing shit and niggas that got body. By niggas sitting with life writing books for a hobby. By niggas who told niggas who made it, niggas copy. Violate this podcast, get put in the bag. To the nearest ER in the ground with the dead. A lot of these niggas is fraud, they whole podcast is trash. Fucking with Big Fruit, we end your...
Salute. Welcome to the Real Big Fruit Podcast. I am your host, Big Fruit, Michael Jordan of recording, also known as the voice to the streets, but better known as the glue, because I like to keep things together. How y'all doing out there? First and foremost, when you come through the building, you smash that like button. Show your boys some love. Y'all see the title, right? It says the Big Fruit First Annual 2025 Podcast Awards. Check this out, right? When you're a podcaster, a YouTuber, content creator, whatever you want to call it, you're responsible for creating content, whether it be daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever. As a content creator, you're responsible for creating content. You can't just sit around waiting for the latest celebrity news or the latest celebrity gossip. It's very imperative that you create content. So me being a creator of content and not one of the individuals who always sit back and wait for celebrity gossip or breaking news, I was creative with it, and I thought about the fact that a lot of podcasters is doing their thing, and a lot of podcasters need to be recognized. Maybe if we start recognizing each other, it'd be less nonsense with dudes going at each other. You know what I'm saying? I did the video last week where I was talking about how dudes be clout chasing and how I personally seen my peers, dudes that I've known for 30 and 40 years, my peers. I've witnessed my peers, homeboys, comrades, you name it, dudes I've known for 30 and 40 years. I've seen them fall victim to YouTube. YouTube is worse than money, man. I seen the homies fall victim to that, where they start going at dudes that they never had a problem with, dudes that they known 30 years, dudes that they walked the yard with in prisons, dudes that they ran around reconciling with as adolescents, even some dudes that they did juvenile time with. Never had a problem. That was my purpose of speaking on that, because I know certain dudes for too long for me and you to be arguing, especially on some YouTube shit, because YouTube, the internet, is what got us acting like we don't like each other, acting like we got a problem with each other. That shit ain't cool. You understand what I'm saying? And if I recognize one of the homies or do it to another homie, then it ain't no question he'll do it to me. So that's what that video was about. And I personally feel that if we recognize each other more, it will be less nonsense, because everybody's creating great content. Which led to me creating the Big Fruit First Annual 2025 Podcast Awards. Okay. Now, first and foremost, I want to say, man, I appreciate all the followers and subscribers, especially my followers on Instagram, because y'all interacted with the posts, y'all dialogued with me, and y'all even threw me some alley-oops to give out even more awards. All right. So shout out to my Instagram followers. I gave out about 10 awards. The first award I gave out was for Best Podcast. The first award for Best Podcast, I gave it to none other than Joe and Jada. Yeah, Joe and Jada. And we're going to get to Joe before we go off the air, because I want to play that new joint by Young Buck. Oh my God. Yeah, for best podcast, I gave it to Joe and Jada 2025. They came out the gate. They represented. The show was top notch. You know what I'm saying? It's great quality, great conversations. You know, we got Fat Joe with the war stories, whether he be capping or not, but it's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? We get to see Jadakiss outside of his element than just spitting bars, and he's getting so much better and better and better at being a podcaster. So shout out to Joe and Jada for holding that down, coming through, stealing that #1 spot, and becoming the best podcast out there. No question. I also gave them a second award because not only do they have the best podcast, but that is the best new podcast. Because they got less than 6 months in, right? So we giving them best podcast and best new podcast. So shout out to Joe and Jada for taking those 2 awards. My third award was the most entertaining podcast. Come on, y'all know who the most entertaining motherfucker is, man. Shout out to Zip with the drip. Mr. Let's Get to That. He is the most entertaining podcaster there is. Hands down. Hands down. And he will entertain you on all types of levels if you really pay attention. You know what I'm saying? He could give you some celebrity news. He could give you hip-hop news. He could give you what's going on in the streets. You know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker come at him, he get right to it. Like, he is definitely the most entertaining podcaster there is. So shout out to Zip the Drip for taking home that joint. My next award went to Best Dressed Podcasters. Listen, it ain't a question. Joe and Jada stay fly to death. You know what I'm saying? They even take pictures of their rollies and kicks and all that shit. So Joe and Jada stay fresh. And you heard Curtis, 50 said, them 4 dudes on Let's Rap About It, they more busy trying to win a fashion show contest. So they stay fresh to death as well, right? But I have to give Best Dressed Podcasters to Killer Cam and Murder Mace. Yeah, man. Cameron and Mace, man. Best dressed podcasters there is, man. I like the fact that they get suited and booted from time to time. That's what I was focused on. Not the Pele leathers or the Averexes and the Tims and all that. That's cool. But I love seeing when Cameron and Mace put it on. They are by far the best dressed podcasters there are. After the best dressed podcasters, I went with the best chemistry on a podcast. I just mentioned those 4 guys on Let's Rap About It. It ain't no question. I personally believe they have the best chemistry. To have 4 people on your platform, not arguing and fighting, not cursing each other out, but yet they can sit there, dialogue, have good conversations, crack jokes on each other, and just have a good time and be different. So I gave them the award for best chemistry. That award goes to the Let's Rap About It podcast featuring Jim Jones, Mano, Dave East, and your boy Fabulous. Yeah, they took home that. They took that one. Okay. On the Come Up podcast. Yeah. Y'all know I ain't really feeling bleak. You know what I'm saying? Him and the boy Pizzo handled me bad, but really, it wasn't bleak. It was more Pizzo. Pizzo wouldn't ask Bleak a question that I asked him. I ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't a hater, though. I ain't a hater. You know what I'm saying? Me and Pizzo ain't on good terms, but I ain't a hater. So, Bleak, you definitely take home the Coming Up Podcast Award. Bleak Podcast, rock solid, is one to reckon with and is one to watch. So keep your eyes on Bleak. He wins the award for the one to watch. No question. Rock Solid Podcast. Now, the new podcast for 2026 to watch is none other than Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo with The Real Report. Yeah, man, they ain't even dropped yet and they winning awards, right? Yeah, I had to give them to them because we need to be on point for 2026 because this podcast is going to get it to shake it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo for that once to watch in 2026 award. Now, after I gave out those 7 awards, I thought I was good because that 7 number, that's the guard number. I thought I was cool with that 7. But nah, the Instagram followers, they jumped in and was like, hold on, Fruit, you forgetting some people. So I had to double back and make some more awards. And the people know what I'm saying? The people was like, yo, what's up with China Brim? Okay, 050 The Movement takes home the award for the most I Don't Give a Fuck podcast. Respectfully. Listen, 050 The Movement, he definitely takes home the I Don't Give a Fuck podcast awards because it ain't no secret. The homie don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And he's the person who always let it be known. He's the first, and everybody jacked his swag, but he's the first person to say it's just content. It's just content. A lot of people don't feel that way, but China Brim will let you know it's just content. And he definitely takes home the I Don't Give a Fuck podcast award. Then they mentioned the boy Harlem Legend. You know what I'm saying? We rocks with Harlem Legend. Shout out to Harlem Legend. They gave Harlem Legend the most consistent podcaster award. And I can't front. He don't miss a beat. And he don't only jump on the hottest topics. He jump on all the topics. Y'all only recognize the hottest topics. I watch Harlem Legend. I watch his moves. He will elaborate on everything moving. So without question, Harlem Legend gets the most consistent award. Brooklyn, y'all know what it is, right? I almost lost my Brooklyn card yesterday fucking with them awards, man, because I felt to acknowledge the big homie who takes home the OG podcast award. The big homie, none other than Doggy Diamonds. Salute the Doggy Diamonds. If you don't know, now you know. Doggy Diamonds put a lot of people on his back, schooled a lot of people to the game, and he allowed people to go off and do their own thing. And that's why we have so many podcasts. A lot of people got their swag from Doggy Diamonds. Doggy Diamonds was probably the first person to do a podcast and have his face splattered on billboards in Times Square. You understand what I'm saying? So Doggy Diamonds, he definitely gets the OG podcasting awards. Salute to Doggy Diamonds. Now, speaking of Doggy Diamonds, you know what I'm saying? Under the Doggy Diamonds tree comes none other than, y'all wouldn't let me forget him, Hassan Campbell. I had to be easy giving Hassan Campbell award. I ain't want him to take shit the wrong way. Me and him be beefing. I ain't with none of that shit, son. So respectfully, the people spoke and gave Hassan Campbell the most controversial podcaster award. And it's fitting for him. It's fitting for him. The people gave him that, and I acknowledged it. I don't need him to be riled up with me for calling him controversial. But yes, indeed, Hassan Campbell takes home the most controversial podcast award. Now, my very last podcast award is the award for the best interview of 2025. You notice Joe and Jade are the only people that won 2 awards. No one else won 2 awards. So this award is going to go to a person who I haven't named already, which is no other than Joe Buttons, with that Joe Buttons experience going on over there. Yeah, Joe Buttons getting to it. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the first big podcasters after Drink Champs. You know what I'm saying? And I think his podcast excelled to the point where it's not just a podcast, if you ask me. So I don't think it's just a podcast. I think Joe Buttons is doing a lot of things, and he needs to be recognized for those things he's doing and not just pigeonhole him as a podcaster. You know what I'm saying? Joe Buttons getting to it. But Joe Buttons take home the award for the best interview in 2025. And that interview I'm referring to was none other than Joe Buttons interviewing Nas and DJ Premier. That is a salutation and a big up for Joe Buttons. That was major. He got to it. So I respect Joe Buttons on that. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it, man. I gave out a bunch of awards on my Big Fruit first annual podcast awards, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to create content, and unbeknownst to me, the people enjoyed it. So I said, you know what? I'm not just going to do a post. I'm going to actually do a video. You know what I'm saying? So here it is for y'all, for the peoples, my first annual 2025 podcast awards. Who knows? I might be here next year doing it again, or some people might get involved, and next year we might actually give people awards. Who knows? You never know, man. Messing with Big Fruit, you know what I'm saying? Because I always do what I say I'm going to do. And I do shit right in front of your eyes. So don't sleep. You know what I'm saying? So don't sleep. Do not sleep, because I might be giving out physical awards. You know what I'm saying? But right now, this is the first annual. We doing it verbally. We did it by a post, and the people's enjoyed it. Let's see how it go down next year in 2026. And on that note, it's your boy Big Fruit. You know how I do. I come through 6 minutes study. I say what it is and say what it ain't. And right now, it is all about the Big Fruit first annual 2025 podcast awards. And the winners were Fat Joe and Jadakiss, as well as Zip the Drip, Cam and Mace, Let's Rap About It, the Rock Solid Podcast, the Joe Buttons Experience, and Doggy Diamonds. You know what I'm saying? I show love to everybody, and I hope y'all appreciate it. Now, before I break out, speaking of podcasts and speaking of Fat Joe, you know I got to let it go, man. Fat Joe be up there telling the war stories, man. Some of them shits don't be right and exact, son. He be capping, and he capped hard on Young Buck. Young Buck himself and his DJ responded to that shit, but Young Buck took it to the studio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Young Buck took it to the studio, Fat Joe. So we gonna check this out on our way out the door, man. Being that it's podcast beef, we gonna check this out right here. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. Here we go. It's Buck.
Hey, let me get that Fat Joe combo, love. Yeah, I just want the chicken and the biscuit is very important.
Ooh, the biscuit. 2-piece with the biscuit.
Yeah. Shit's starting to feel like, them old cheap unit days and shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't make you stop playing with me, man. Yeah, I'm right here, bitch. Hey, every day some new shit. These rappers need to quit teaming up on these podcasts, making these little skits. So I recovered, let me talk a little bit. Said you gave me a 2-piece. Well, here's the biscuit. Told the story, but you just had to go and twist it. Thought I was missing. You threw a bottle of water and didn't think that I would risk it. I ought to take it there, but I'm not gonna act like it's scripted. Just here to tell the truth so the fans can't get conflicted. No hands was put on nobody, even though I attempted. I don't know if it's you, Fat Joe, or Theo Simpson, but speak facts when you say my name. This ain't the fucking ball, don't play this type of games.
Book.
Having a guy out of control out here, man. Keep it real with yourself before you try to keep it real with anybody else. You know what's up. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, who cares? This shit been too long. People been saying shit ain't the same now since Banks and you gone. Really a whole lot done changed now. Maybach is too tall. Still the switches on the back. I screw the silencer on. Lost my job like Ebro and went and picked up a kilo. I'ma get it regardless. Y'all ass 50. He know. Hey, I go. Saving the day again. Fuck the hero. New Jack City, Nino. Came back from zero. The inside of the Chevy look like a bag of Cheetos. Ain't a day that you can say that my trap house been closed. Ain't no way that I'm gonna play with these rappers. White, they know all these years and I'm still a big factor. I'm just one of them roller coasters. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Play with your bitch, don't play with me, man. You know? I know you rappers, a lot of you rappers is really starving. Y'all shit ain't selling no more. You looking for new outlets and shit, but you know. Keep that truth in your gangster, nigga. Might have to leave alone when you need. It's Young Buck, man. The streets love me, nigga.
So what we doing? We gonna get a response from Fat Joe. Listen, man, it's your boy Big Fruit. You know how I do, man. I come through 6 months, study it. I say what it is, say what it ain't. And like I said, right now, it is all about the Big Fruit first annual 2025 podcast awards. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to presenting them again next year. But until then, y'all enjoy your holiday season. And you know how I do. I'll be right back in a minute like I never left. We got a special guest coming up real soon. He's going to have a seat at the Real Big Fruit podcast, and we're going to get this shaking. You know what I'm saying? But until then, y'all stay tapped in. Salute.
Spot that time, Spot that time, Tune in or get tuned the fuck out.